Hey friends, Randy Flickinger here again. I got a tie to yesterday's story, which I did, which was on New Year's resolutions. And I talked about how First Peter, he talked about being prepared to share the gospel with anyone that we met, to anyone, and that was our goal, should be our goal, amongst everything else, that we resolute to do better. Well, I want to tie into that. If you didn't see that, by the way, track it down. It's called New Year's Resolutions by Randy Flickinger. You can find it real easy. I just did it yesterday. Listen to these stats that I got here. This comes from a message from my pastor, Mark Hoover, at the New Spring Church. The Bible is everywhere but nowhere. The Bible is the best-selling book in the world. It is printed in part or whole in 2,800 languages worldwide. On average, listen to this, 85% of U.S. households own a Bible. The average number of Bibles per household, 4.3 Bibles per house. All right? Well, let's go on. A little more here. Listen to this, though. 65% believe they are knowledgeable about the Bible, but 58% were unable to correctly identify the first 5 books of the Bible. Okay, the first 5. 45% of adults in the U.S. strongly but erroneously believe that the Bible teaches God helps those who helps themselves. That's not what the Bible says. 60% of Americans can't name half of the 10 Commandments. Only 52% of young adults knew it was false to say that Sodom and Gomorrah were married, like a couple. And finally, 50% of Americans, including Christians, can't name any of the 4 Gospels. Now, you hear all that? Think about that for a minute. We like to think we live in a Christian society in the United States. We like to think the Bible should guide us, and I know that's changed a lot. It has. But in the same token, are you hearing these numbers? I mean, does that sound like a country that is familiar with this book? The number 1 selling book in the world? It's in 85% of our households? Really? Let me give you a couple more real fast. Barely 1/4 of adults, 27%, are confident that Satan exists, even though this is a key teaching of the Bible and something Jesus taught. I want you to think about that. If there is no evil, how can there be a distinction between good and evil? There isn't any. And only 27% believe that Satan exists. Folks, he exists, trust me. And 47% of American Christians strongly agree or agree somewhat that the Book of Mormon, the Quran, and the Bible all express the same spiritual truths. I'm telling you up front, folks, that is not the case either. But my point is simple. I talked yesterday about how we need to share and be prepared to share the Bible. That includes being able to correct gently, you remember what it said, gently correct the untruths, the misunderstandings, the lack of knowledge that exist all over the world, and especially right here in the good old US of A, and in the sphere of influence that you have. Guys, the Bible is the only truth with a capital T that is left in this world. We just had an election. You saw how the media, how politicians, how all of these different sources lied continually. And I'm not going to pick on any side. I'm just telling you the truth, which is they all lied to us. They hid the truth. They buried the truth. They didn't tell the truth. You and I need to know that that Bible is the one and only truth that's left. And you and I need to know what it says to help share that truth with a rapidly disintegrating and frankly doomed group of people that are not understanding what Christianity and God is really about. Share this, please. Repost it, please. Save it as a favorite to reflect back on, or to share with a friend and say, listen to these numbers, listen to this. 27% only think that Satan lives. I mean, honestly, what the heck? Do those things. Comment. I'd love to hear from you, as always. And thanks again for listening, guys.